Hello and welcome to another episode of Energy and You, a weekly highlight of events within the Nigerian energy sector with a focus on the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited. I'm Egusa Igumbo. Tonight, we focus our attention on the United Nations Climate Change Conference of the Parties, COP28, in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, where President Bola Tinubu assured world leaders and foreign partners of Nigeria's readiness to support concrete actions to reduce methane and other non-greenhouse emissions. The national oil company NNPC Limited participated actively at the conference, making bold statements on a just energy transition for Africa and sustainable market initiatives. And on the sidelines, the oil company forged various business partnerships and signed deals on gas projects. This episode brings you an extensive coverage of NNPC Limited's participation and the takeaways from the COP28 conference. We'll bring you all the details in a moment. Please join us again. Let's kick off the show with some top global energy news for the week. Africa's largest refinery, Dangote Petroleum Refinery, is set to begin operations after it received 1 million barrels of crude to take off. Another 5 million barrels would arrive at the $20 billion facility in 5 installments. In the meantime, the refinery will begin production of automotive gas oil, also known as diesel, and Jet A1 or aviation fuel, in January 2024. Oil prices went up at the start of the week, extending gains for a second session amidst efforts by US to replenish strategic reserves of up to 3 million barrels of crude, which is scheduled for March 2024. However, there are still concerns of crude oversupply and softer fuel demand growth for next year. Brent crude futures rose 56 cents to $76.40 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures were at $71.71 a barrel. That's up 48 cents. Both contracts jumped more than 2% on Friday, but fell for the 7th straight week, their longest streak of weekly declines since 2018, lingering on oversupply concerns. Despite a pledge by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and Allies to cut production by 2.2 million barrels per day in the first quarter of 2024, investors remain skeptical supply will drop. Output growth in non-OPEC countries is seen leading to excess supply next year. According to RBC analysts, they are optimistic that prices will remain volatile and directionless until the market sees clear data points pertaining to the voluntary output cuts. Nigeria's bold approach towards combating climate change and promoting sustainable development made a remarkable impression on participants at the 28th United Nations Climate Change Conference of the Parties, COP28, which held in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. The event brought together global leaders, policymakers, and environmental advocates to discuss pressing climate change issues.
The Nigerian delegation, under the leadership of President Bola Tinubu, was actively engaged in various high-level bilateral meetings. In a speech at the World Leaders Summit on methane and other non-CO2 greenhouse gases, President Tinubu emphasized Nigeria's commitment to taking practical steps to mitigate climate change. He listed some of the measures to include elimination of gas flare, empowerment and engagement of youths in climate action, and promotion of global cooperation in addressing climate challenges.
We are providing cooking gas for a large population. We will continue to do that. We've signed off on reduction of methane. We will leverage on new technology.
Nigeria's participation at COP28 showcased its drive to build a sustainable future through the involvement of all stakeholders. At an event on the sidelines of the conference, The Minister of State, Petroleum Resources, Gas, Honorable Ekperipe Ekpo, highlighted the key features of the Decade of Gas Initiative declaration in Nigeria, which is geared towards unlocking the nation's abundant gas resources to drive economic growth while reducing the nation's general carbon footprint.
Nigeria is committed to mitigating the climate change, and currently Nigeria is focusing on eliminating flares, substitute biomass as source of cooking fuel with gas, and ensuring preservation of forest resources. Closing the energy gap with substantial focus on renewables, while leveraging on gas-based power industries and automobile development as strategic pathways. Currently, we have an initiative that is called Decade of Gas, which is focusing on addressing the various economic sectors: power, transportation, cooking fuels, and a lot more. And of course, Nigeria is adopting gas as the transition fuel.
Nigeria's presence at COP28 in Dubai demonstrated the country's resolute commitment to combating climate change and promoting sustainable development.
As the global conversation on finding suitable pathways to a future of decarbonized energy raged at the 2023 United Nations Climate Change Conference in Dubai, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited, joined other global entities to deliberate on climate issues and their increasing complexities. The conference sought to expedite action on curbing global warming through the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions.
COP28 was expected to underscore the importance of collective action by every country to combat climate change and the crucial role of finance in the low-carbon transition. Mele Kyari, the GCEO NNPC Limited, emphasized Africa's unique challenges in addressing the effects of climate change during the regional CEO panel session organized by McKinsey & Company. He stressed the need for the world to understand the peculiarities of the African continent while harnessing resources for the benefit of future generations. Discussions also revolved around energy poverty, especially considering Nigeria's projected inclusion among the top 10 global economies by 2035.
When you look at the numbers, the whole of Africa contributes to just 3% of global emissions. You would say, okay, if you switch off 3%, you've done nothing, but you are also not competing to play a catch-up.
The GCEO reiterated Nigeria's abundant natural gas reserves of 206 trillion cubic feet, with the potential to increase to 600 trillion cubic feet. He noted that the reserves are currently being utilized to propel the country toward energy transition. Kyari elaborated on the country's commitment to eliminate gas flaring by deploying power plants nationwide. This initiative is expected to enhance nationwide electricity supply, generate employment opportunities, and stimulate the nation's industrial and economic growth. He further highlighted the company's dedication to a net-zero future by 2030, demonstrated by its recent sign-up for the United Nations Global Compact in New York. This milestone, according to him, positioned the company as the first state-owned oil company to join this global initiative.
As the world focuses on achieving the objectives of COP28, NNPC Limited has reinforced Nigeria's dedication to addressing climate change through the promotion of environmentally friendly energy, liquefied natural gas, LNG. the company signed 2 memoranda of understanding on floating liquefied natural gas and liquefied natural gas projects. The 2 separate signing ceremonies, which held in Dubai on the sidelines of COP28, are aimed at delivering LNG to the domestic gas markets and the international LNG markets.
The MOU between NNPC Limited and Wison Heavy Industry Company Limited, a Chinese company, is for the development of a floating LNG project in Nigeria with a focus on the international LNG market. It is a strategic collaboration aimed at exploring opportunities for developing floating LNG infrastructure in Nigeria to harness the country's vast natural gas reserves. The Executive Vice President, Gas, Power and New Energy, Olaliko Ogunleye, signed on behalf of NNPC Limited, while Mr. Kai Shu, Managing Director of Wison Heavy Industry, signed on behalf of Wison Limited. Speaking shortly after the signing ceremony, the EVP Gas, Power and New Energy, Mr. Olaliko Ogunleye, highlighted NNPC Limited's gas commercialization efforts through the floating LNG project.
NNPC is delivering on the federal government's mandate to create a gas-based economy. Today, we've just signed 2 major agreements that are very pivotal on that journey. The first is the sales agreement for the acquisition of a 30 million scf per day mini LNG plant to be located at Ajaokuta. The second is accelerating our gas commercialization effort through the floating LNG project. We've just signed an MOU with Wilson, which is a worldwide acknowledged FLNG OEM. This is for a floating LNG project in Nigeria, which should be operational within a short period, 2 to 3 years.
It is very glad to be here and sign the MOU with NNPC, and much appreciate the recognition of NNPC, which is the largest Africa energy company. And as a leading EPC contractor for floating LNG, we are ready to cooperate with NNPC to help NNPC to achieve the project success.
Also, NNPC Prime LNG Limited, an arm of NNPC Trading Limited, signed a supply, installation and commissioning agreement with SDP Services, an independent oil and gas company, for a 421 tons per day LNG project targeting the domestic LNG market. The small-scale LNG project agreement was signed by the Managing Director, NNPC Trading Limited, Mr. Lawal Sadeh, on behalf of NNPC Prime LNG Limited, while Mr. Abhinav Modi, Managing Director of SDP Services Limited, signed on behalf of SDP Services. The NNPC Trading Company, as a business unit of the NNPC Limited, plays a pivotal role in Nigeria's oil and gas industry, facilitating trading operations and ensuring the efficient supply of petroleum products.
This project that we just signed will see us delivering 420 tons of LNG into the domestic market in Nigeria daily. It's a very huge milestone, and it's important to us as a country and as a company to see that we bring in the O2O gas into the domestic market to improve efficiency and then reduce the utilization of the gasoline as it is.
Very happy with the partnership with NNPC. We look forward for this project to materialize in time, timely manner. We know that it's going to add a lot of value for Nigeria and Nigerian economy as a whole, individual Nigerian lives specifically.
The deals mark a crucial step towards maximizing Nigeria's natural gas resources, fostering economic growth, and reducing greenhouse gas emissions, as it also aligns with the nation's commitment to the objectives of COP28, which is focused on accelerating the transition to cleaner and sustainable energy sources. They also present exceptional opportunities to leverage the country's natural gas resources, reduce gas flaring, and contribute to international efforts in mitigating climate change.
Time now to update you with the progress made by NNPC Limited in its war against crude oil theft and pipeline vandalism.
On December 7, 2023, Tantita Security Services, the private security contractor saddled with protecting the Western Corridor, acted on credible intelligence and stormed an area where MT Vinalaris vessel was stealing crude from a wellhead offshore in Ondo State. They were faced with resistance.
They've approached us for the third time again, asking us to leave this environment that it is a restricted area.
The Vinalaris 1 vessel, which is currently in the custody of the Navy, is reported to have been carrying out dark activities in Ghana on November 29, 2023, and 4 times in Nigeria within August and October 2023. The vessel is sailing under a Nigerian flag with Regan Navigation Limited as the registered owner since March 2022, and Randlin Marine as the beneficial owner since May 2023. The vessel was earlier flagged on November 11, 2023 for recent and multiple identity changes and dark activity, which is similar to tankers used in unauthorized crude oil under deals. Between the 2nd and 8th of December 2023, 127 incidences were recorded from several incident sources: Pipeline Infrastructure Nigeria Limited, Maton Engineering Nigeria Limited, Tantita Security Services, Shell Petroleum Development Company, NNPC Command and Control Center, and government security agencies. In the past week, 51 illegal refineries were discovered in Egwema, Evemo, Teddy Baba, and West Boma in Bayelsa State. In Ward 1, Oroigwe, Osubogo, Boni, Beresiri, and Owewere in Rivers State. In Imo State, clusters of illegal refineries were found in Obokofia, while an illegal refinery with sacks of crude oil and oil pits were found in Obuzo, Abia State. Oil thieves were also apprehended during a raid of illegal refining sites. Charms and ammunitions were also found on site in Owodopopo in Delta State. The thieves are responsible for the vandalization of the pipeline at Uzere and Owodopopo. While 3 were apprehended, 3 are on the run. 29 illegal connections were uncovered in Ereni, Abo, Akarai, and Uborodo in Delta State, Odegu in Rivers, Obuzo and Owaza in Abia, and Okotwari in Bayelsa State. 5 illegal storage sites were discovered across Imo, Bayelsa, Delta, and Abia State in the past week, while 13 wooden boats conveying stolen crude were arrested and confiscated in Delta State and Imo State. In the past week, 11 vehicle arrests were made in Imo State. 9 of those incidents took place in the deep blue water, 50 in the eastern region, 45 in the central region, while 23 took place in the western region. Between the 2nd and 8th of December 2023, 5 suspects were arrested. For NNPC Limited, there is no backing down on the war on crude oil theft until the menace is eradicated for good. To report crude oil theft or suspicious activities within your area, call the numbers on your screen now, or send an email to report@stopcrudetheft.com. Handsome rewards await the whistleblower. Do your part. Report oil theft today.
Still to come, at COP28, NNPC Limited advocates collaborative efforts with global partners to address methane emissions reduction in oil and gas operations. Details after the break. Please stay.
We are the largest single asset holder in Africa's oil and gas industry and poised to be the dynamic global energy company of choice. We are constantly innovating to be the prime company for energy sufficiency. We are NNPC Limited, energy for today, energy for tomorrow.
You're still watching Energy and You, and our focus today is the COP28 Climate Change Conference of the Parties. Now, in light of the heated debates over greenhouse gas emissions at the just concluded 2023 United Nations Climate Change conference in Dubai, NNPC Limited has advocated for collaborative efforts with global partners to address the issue of methane emissions in oil and gas operations.
During an oil and gas decarbonization charter titled Accelerating the Elimination of Methane Emission and the Decarbonization of Oil and Gas, the Executive Vice President Upstream, Orishemeyiwa Eyeson, underscored the charter's significance not only for NNPC Limited, but also for the entire sub-Saharan African region. She stressed that Nigeria is increasing gas production for both export and local consumption, adding that this is Nigeria's decade of gas.
We believe that the charter, working towards zero flare, working towards emission reduction by 2030, working towards scope 1 and 2 CO2 by 2050, we're totally aligned to that, and we see that as being very, very achievable.
Eyeson emphasized the dual challenges of finance and technology hindering the achievement of net zero emissions by 2030. She stressed the necessity for African countries to collaborate with partners possessing both financial resources and advanced technology.
Indeed, we are all working collaboratively, and that makes a big difference. And I'd like to take Patrick on his offer, because I think as partners we must work together.
She reiterated NNPC Limited's steadfast commitment to collaborating with global partners in mitigating methane emissions within its operations, while concurrently diversifying the energy portfolio through substantial investments in solar, wind, and various other renewable sources. The exhibition area was a point of attraction for guests who explored the booths showcasing the activities of participating countries and companies. NNPC Limited received numerous prospective partners who left its booth with a deeper understanding of the company and its offerings.
On the feedback segment today, we're talking about conserving fuel for our vehicles. In Nigeria, contrary to what the population of drivers may think, it's simply more fuel efficient to drive with the car air conditioned on, because keeping your windows down at a speed faster than 80 kilometers per hour creates more drag and wind resistance for your car, thereby costing you a lot more fuel. Now let's find out other strategies you can adopt to save on petrol for your vehicle.
Reduce my outing as much as possible. It's only where it's important I drive with the vehicle. Otherwise, sometimes I go with public transport.
I'm not running anyhow. So I'm not fairing my motor, even I'm slow. And by the time I start it, I will leave it to slow. Then after, only to move on. I'm not fairing the motor. I know they run anyhow. So that is how you can manage your fuel to reach 1 week, more than 1 week.
I'm selling vaccine. So sometime if the movement is not important to me, I will park one side, unless they request for something that I know I will get my fuel back before I will move.
Sometimes I come out in my car, sometimes I go with public transport. But most times I always buy 5,000 and 10,000. I'll manage it for the week. The following week I buy the same amount again if there's money.
But it's not everywhere you go with car again. It's not everywhere you go with car. If you see that transportation will be lesser for you, I think it's better to use transportation.
And that's our show today. Thanks for watching. If you missed any part of it or previous episodes, you can catch up by scanning the QR code on your screen now. Remember to also follow us on all our social media handles showing on your screen to get updates of events in Nigeria's energy sector and other activities of NNPC Limited. Thanks again for watching. I'm Elgusa Igumbo. Bye for now.